Welcome to Sportex sponsorship, where it is hosted on the TalkX channel, found on either LinkedIn or YouTube for that matter. I'm Gerard Davids, founder of TalkX TV and the host of Sportex sponsorship. Today, I'm joined by Bronson Mokabela, a renowned sports marketing and sponsorship executive who is currently the general manager for marketing and communications at SASCOC, our national sports federation in South Africa, and he's also handling the commercial program for the federation. Let's start off by describing to us, Bronson, your journey into the sports and entertainment sector. And was that always a deliberate career choice on your part, or did it just evolve organically over time? Welcome, Bronson.
No, thank you, Gerard. Interesting question, because I guess depends on when you ask that question. So when I started my career, I started as my qualification is in BCom Accounting, Economics and Statistics from the University of Cape Town. So initially I thought I'd be an accountant and working with numbers. But along the journey, came across this thing called marketing. And then that's where then the career at Unilever started in traditional marketing. And I guess along the way, the journey happens that you then meet people that can understand your passion points. So sport has always been a passion point of mine. And I was then fortunate enough along the journey, Unilever, then research, Standard Bank, and then Plasco and Standard Bank. An opportunity came at Nike to become the sports marketing manager just before the 2010 World Cup. And back then they still had the Confed Cup the year before the World Cup itself. So I joined Nike in 2008, working towards the Confed Cup in 2009 and then World Cup in 2010. So I guess my journey into actual sports marketing started at Nike. Although at Standard Bank, we did work with Chiefs and Pirates back then. Now we're going to show our age, when they still had the E-Plan accounts.
Oh, my goodness.
And Chiefs and Standard Bank sponsored both Chiefs and Pirates back then. So in my capacity in personal and business banking, those were the type of cards and accounts that we offered back then. But also worked with the sponsorship team who at the time managed cricket, the original T20 competitions that were run by Standard Bank. So worked quite closely with that sponsorship team. So I guess, that's kind of where the combination of the two came together, both at, the traditional marketing as well as the sponsorship, and then officially at Nike. And I guess I've been in that journey since 2008.
Yeah, and from there on, you went to Vodacom and also started your own little initiative as an entrepreneur a few years back.
Yes. So I guess post Nike, then moved on to Vodacom, as you've indicated, heading up sponsorships and regional marketing in that role, and then subsequently moved to MegaPro as the deputy CEO. Which I guess is for a lot of people in the industry are quite familiar with what MegaPro does, but as a commercial agency for a number of properties, including SA Rugby as the main key client, but also involved in digital boards and advertising, hospitality as well. And then I guess, as you said, ventured off into the world of entrepreneurship, kind of with the view at that stage to kind of combine all my knowledge and skills, traditional marketing, sponsorship, sports marketing, sales, and DigiGauge Sports and Entertainment was then formed, but along the journey, and then kind of came into opportunities in the world of rights holders. So last year I was heading up the marketing team at the Netball World Cup, and through that journey then met my CEO, who is my boss here at SASCOC, and I've been at SASCOC since September of 2023.
Okay, great. So as we speak, what would you consider the key skills from your past roles and engagements that you've just mentioned that you find the most valuable helping you in your current role? And how has that shaped your approach to marketing in sports and entertainment as we speak?
That's quite a broad question that you're asking. Because I guess
I'm known for that, Bronson.
So it's true. Because at the end of the day, I think we acquire skills in different forms. some practical, some, through experiences. And I think, yeah, in terms of answering your question, it's been a combination of all, I guess, the journey that I've been on. In that I've been fortunate enough to be on the brand side, whereas where I am now, on the rights holder side, being able to kind of speak the language of both sides, if I can call it that. So that's been of great benefit from our side, because a big part of my role here is also managing the relationship that we have with our sponsors, as well as then, looking then to unlock more commercial opportunities for the sports, SASCOC, which ultimately then flows to our athletes, So a big part of what we do here is delivering Team South Africa to the multi-coded games. So to achieve that, commercial requirements is quite critical in terms of, team preparation, team delivery, and ultimately performance, through incentives and the like. So that's a big part of my job here. And ultimately, strategic planning becomes also critical. So all the skills from managing a budget, putting together a budget, understanding what it will cost to deliver programs that you put in place, being able to engage with other stakeholders within the organization, so so it's I can't even put it to one thing. I've been in this game for over 23 years, and each and every one of those has kind of equipped me in different ways to be able to then deliver on this job that I'm in at the moment.
Yeah, great. So having had the opportunity to serve on both sides of the equation, then brings empathy, because you could then have an understanding as to what is it that sponsors want, and on the other side, maybe I don't want to use the word innocently, but maybe it's escaping me now, where rights holders overpromise in terms of their expectations as to what they want out of managing a sponsorship relationship. Now, on that point, what is your view on the need for especially for rights holders and also for brands to continuously adapt their marketing strategies in line with the ever-changing, ever-connected, disrupted economy and the world of digital and social media demands?
Yeah, no, so I don't think we can ever get away from that. The fact that the world has changed. From, once again, when I speak about our age, if I just look at how, broadcast worked back in the day, you watched the program at a specific time. If you missed it, you missed it, unless you had a VHS to record at the time, But I guess with the world changing now is, digital. I've got kids, so I see how they consume content, which is completely different to how we could be watching it. Because I think most of us still watch and consume what's on the screen, and at most maybe tap into our WhatsApp group with mates during games, or maybe follow on social media. But for them, it's kind of like a different world, where it's almost like sport is a background noise. The content is actually on their social media platforms, So you find myself asking, are you watching? And for them, they'll say, yes, I'm watching. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but in light of your question, is that, we have to acknowledge that the world has changed completely, and it's all about staying in touch. So from our side, I guess we've been fortunate enough that I do have a strong social media team that's working, with an agency at the team at Ideation Station, as well as a team that's focused on our website. So we're trying to ensure that our website is up to date on a continuous basis, and becomes a central point for where the content needs to be. If you go today, it's not ideally where it should be. There's still a lot of work to be done. But since joining, we've made improvements, making sure that the content is up to date. So the team from ANOC, which is the Association of National Olympic Committees, released a report in recent time, which people can then access on the SASCOC LinkedIn account, which showcased how South Africa did as a National Olympic Committee versus our peers on engagement, how we grew our audiences across the platforms, and we have a lot of pride in the results that came through. So dedicated focus on digital, is key pillar for us. But it's not just about digital as the platform, but a big job is about engagement. So a lot of the work that we're doing now is, how do you remain relevant outside of games?
Yeah.
because it's well and good that people are watching during the games and following, but it's about what's happening today. And I always say we're managing two brands. There's Team SA as the team that we deliver to the games, which ultimately is driven by the athletes. But there's also SASCOC as a sports confederation that's also critical. So it's balancing the content across those two spaces, in terms of what we're saying about how SASCOC as a sports confederation is assisting sport. You mentioned the webinar that we just jumped on now, so it's about how we then deliver that type of content to our federations, which ultimately improves them, but also then ultimately benefiting the athletes that they deliver, because ultimately we just deliver the athletes, but those athletes come from federations.
Okay, great. And lastly, and in closing, what do you think is the one big thing that will have the greatest impact on sports sponsorship landscape in the years to come?
I think, yeah, the two words, relevance and resonance. To me, those are the big things, So if sport doesn't remain relevant to the audiences that it aims to serve, it's dying, and that's both at the participation level, but also at the audience level. In terms of people making sure that it's something of appeal, and whatever it takes. Whether it be quality of athletes that are on the pitch or in the sporting fields, promoting of those athletes, and people knowing about them, creating platforms for people to engage with that content. So, without the relevance and the resonance, I think we all die. So it's up to us to just make sure that at least that remains, as a key priority, because although we speak of sponsorships as and commercial opportunities, that has to also be relevant and resonate with the brands that you want to speak to, So if you can combine those two worlds, I think you're onto something. But ultimately, with no participants as well as no audience, then there is no sport.
Okay.
Yes, the athletes are important, but I think, yeah, the audience and the participants are most critical as well.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Bronson. That was Bronson Mukabela, the GM for Marketing and Communications at SASCOC, and he's also tasked with handling the commercial program for the Federation and Team South Africa. Thank you for your time and insights, which is very much appreciated, Bronson. And that's where we would leave it for now. Until next time, and thank you for watching SportX on the TalkX TV channel.